Hi, welcome everybody to the Mass Teacher. Today we have Miss Yvette Avila. Miss Avila, can you show us who's behind the mask?
Sure. Take the shield off. Down. And
Thank you. There you are. Take it off. Take it off. So, welcome, Miss Avila, and thank you for sitting down with me for just a few minutes. Um, can you tell us a little bit about where you are right now and how long you've been an educator?
yes, ma'am. Well, like you said, my name is Yvette Avila. I am currently at Crockett Middle School. I have been teaching for about 8 years. I actually started first year SAT prep at Permian and OHS. Following year, I moved to Crockett. Been here ever since. Um, Currently, my role is AVID coordinator, and I also serve as the AVID elective teacher, and I also serve as a department chair for electives on our campus. So it's my roles have grown, but I do enjoy them.
Thank you. Wow, that is a lot of different hats that you wear. And you're working at Crockett, which is a middle school. So, what kind of student were you when you were in school?
Well, whenever I was in school, actually, I would say, and I'm pretty sure I know I was an A and like a B plus student. So I knew, since I was young, my parents instilled in me, like good grades. I'm the oldest of three. And so I mean, I think I don't know if I love school, but I know I liked it, growing up. And then once I got to middle school, since it had already been instilled in me, like good grades, an 86, I think, and above was our goal. That was something that I just kept on because then you would earn honors and highest honors, and there was a little monetary money tied to it, not a lot, but that was kind of a motivation. Eventually that kind of went away, and it was just strictly like, I knew the expectation, and I knew that um, I knew what my parents expected of me, so I didn't want to technically disappoint them. But then also when I had my good grades, like I felt good about myself. So I strived, even though the expectation was set when I was young in elementary, it was something that I felt like I needed to keep going even in high school.
Good. So, you mentioned that your parents always had those expectations for you. Who was it that inspired you to go to college?
Oh my goodness. This one is kind of, I mean, college has been around for a long time. And so I would be considered a first generation college student. My parents did not go to college originally. I knew that my senior year, I knew I wanted to go to college. I did have a son at a young age. And so then he became like my inspiration. I would always say he's my heart, my hope, and my eyes. And my goal was always to try to do better for him and for myself. Because now it wasn't just about me anymore. It was I had to provide a future for somebody else. And so that really encouraged me. Like I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to go to college. And my parents said, whatever you do, we'll support you, we'll help you through it. They didn't know what college was about. And they're just like, go for it. And so that's kind of what I did. I had to navigate my own way through college. Um, and just it was just a trial and error, learning and growing, and then I was able to encourage a few people along the way also. So I was able, I earned my degrees, my bachelor's, my master's. And then when in the process of earning my master's degree, my parents actually went back to college. I don't remember
Wow.
how old they were, but I want to say they were maybe in their 40s. And they actually both went back to college. Both of them now have bachelor's degrees, and surprisingly, they're both teachers also.
Oh, wow, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. So y'all get to now share those teacher moments with each other at the family
Yeah.
table.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So after once you became a teacher, was there ever another career that you thought you'd be doing?
Well, in high school, I got to work as on a co-op. So I would go to school half day my senior year and then work the other half. And I got to work at an attorney's office, a district attorney's office. And so I really enjoyed that. And I guess that would be I thought that was going to be my go-to. Like I always said, I wanted to go to law school, become an attorney. I don't know if I would still want to do that. Um, but that was one of the things because I really enjoyed it. I got to see the criminal aspect and the civil aspect, and I really liked it.
Okay, so maybe when you grow up.
Maybe when I grow up. Yeah, I'm still learning. I always tell students, like, we learn too every single day. So it's just a matter of, are you willing, any information, any resources you get, are you willing to continue to learn from it in order to, keep on going?
Okay, well, thank you. And I'm glad that you're already bringing in that conversations, those conversations where you're sharing with your kids some of your experiences. Right now, I mean, even in the last few years, teaching has changed a lot. But now, like in the last few months, teaching has really changed a lot. So I'd like to ask you, what keeps you going? What keeps you in this profession?
Well, it's days are not always easy. Okay. But one thing that I would say is the word hope. And also like rising up to the occasion. And so even though things get tough, it's like you have to keep going, right? That's what we try to show our students. Even, if we're parents, we show our kids that also. But I would say that hope is one of those things, is because then, doesn't matter what happened today, tomorrow's a new day. Let's start all over again. And so I think, it's tough. Trust it, it's really tough. But starting each day with just hope, like a new, hopefully, the kids will come with better attitudes tomorrow, or hopefully they understood, and then we can start all. You know what I mean? It's just starting all over again the next day.
Hopefully, the
So,
Wi Fi works.
yes, and that too.
Technology, it just feels like it's supposed to make everything go faster, but I almost feel like sometimes it makes it go slower, right?
It does, like actually today we were having a conversation in class because we were going back over some vocabulary log that we had done like in middle October. And I said, remember the last time you did this, it was on the computer in the library online. Today I gave them a paper. And so then they brought up, well, other teachers have us do our planners like online. And I'm like, well, that's a luxury that inside teachers have. But since we're outside, currently right now we don't. I said, but once we do, then I think it might be a little easier for them to be able to navigate, because it can be tough going from technology to paper. You know what I mean? Like the back and forth shuffle. And so it's still something that we're all learning, even the technology, trying new things. You never know. Some days the internet might work, some days it may not. And when it gets really cold too, like the internet, we struggle a lot with it.
Well,
But
see, I
I think
think the kids now get to experience it both ways too, and they get to maybe find what works best for them, and eventually, even when one doesn't have to be used, they'll be able to go back and forth and use both, kind of like we're forced to do, right?
And I think that writing things down doesn't hurt them, because that's one thing that we're trying to push right now is like we have to get better at writing. We have to learn vocabulary. You have to be able to talk and communicate with people. And it takes, certain of these little things, but right now they're not quite understanding why.
Well, thank you, Yvette, for sharing your time with us. Is there anything else you would like to add about your life as a teacher or you personal?
No, I'll say one thing is sometimes when people ask like, what kept you going? One thing is self-motivation. And that's one thing that try to tell students is like, yes, like if you don't want it bad enough, it's not going to happen. I knew I wanted to go to college. And luckily I had my parents' support, like, hey, whatever it is you want to do, we'll help you however you can. And so I had to learn all of these things on my own. But then it was like, if I didn't go to class, was somebody going to know? Like technically my parents weren't, but I knew that there was still that accountability. So it has to come from within. So I would say like self motivation is really huge. You have to want it and you have to keep going. And yes, you're gonna fail a few times, but the thing is, right? That's what we teach is you keep on going and going and going. And one thing today that we talked about also in class was even though you keep going and going and going, sometimes you may not always get what you want, and it's gonna be okay. Like, and that was, so it was we did a little moral story today, and that was one of the things. But the other thing is also like a vision board. Thinking back in my college years, I didn't realize I had this board. It had pictures, it had quotes, like, I would handwrite the quotes, I would color code them, draw little things, and I would put them up on this board. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. This whole time, I actually had my own vision board. I just didn't realize that's what it was. And so, kind of even setting these little things or just quotes, for a tough day, like I need to find some motivation and some inspiration somehow. So, quotes, really helped me a lot through college. And in the end, it was a vision board that kind of
Ah,
helped push that also.
that's
So,
good. And you're passing that on to your students and your own family and obviously your mom and dad. That's a lot of impact,
yeah,
Yvette. Thank you so much for being an educator and for showing us who's behind the mask.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.